What's up, Ravens fans? It's time to hear from you guys on our Ravens Mailbag segment, and as you can probably guess, there was plenty of options to choose from in the mailbag this week. Lots of questions after the loss to the Bengals on Sunday, so let's just go ahead and jump right into it. The first question today comes from Patrick on Twitter, and the question is, what are the odds of the Ravens bringing back Terrell Suggs?
Well, Patrick, I'm going to go 100% on this one. The Ravens could save $4 million if they were to cut Terrell Suggs, but I don't see any way that that's happening. I mean, Terrell Suggs was possibly your best defensive player this year. Let's start there.
He won Most Valuable Player for the team.
Exactly. Local reporters voted him Ravens MVP, had 11 sacks. I don't care what his age is. Age is just a number.
Is that what you tell yourself?
Yeah. Thanks a lot. You know, the numbers I'm more interested in are the numbers he's putting up on the field. Those stats, 11 sacks this year, still very good against the run. Terrell Suggs is getting it done. I don't care how old he is. So if you're going to save $4 million, are you going to spend on another outside linebacker to replace him? Because who's going to step into Terrell Suggs' shoes at this point? I don't think you have anybody.
And there's also the emotional piece of this. I mean, this guy is the rallying cry. He is the emotional leader of this team.
He is a Raven.
Absolutely.
I don't know that there's another Raven, more Raven than Terrell Suggs.
Yeah, I agree with that. So let's stay on this pass rush question, and that's where we'll go with the second question. There's Taylor Hudson. The question is, with so much invested in this defense and the lack of an ability to finish games, what kind of changes could be made other than the apparent need at coordinator? Well, yes, Dean Pease did retire, so that's the spot that needs to be filled. But in terms of the players, I look at the pass rush. And so we already agree that Terrell Suggs is going to be here next year leading that group. But the Ravens need to find somebody to put alongside him. They saw that Matt Judon had a really nice season. He's somebody that I think was a breakout player for the Ravens. But Zadarius Smith didn't put up a ton of numbers this year. Tyus Bowser, the rookie, had 3 sacks. Tim Williams didn't have any sacks. He was a third-round pick. The Ravens need to find another great young pass rusher. I mean, the name of the game, I think, is pass rush, and that's an area that I would like to see it.
I'm going to agree and disagree with you here. I don't think it comes at outside linebacker. They already invested in Tyus Bowser and Tim Williams, who you mentioned, so I don't see another high draft pick or a veteran signing at outside linebacker. To me, it's interior pass rush. I think the Ravens, in a way, did miss what they got from Timmy Jernigan on the inside. You had Brandon Williams and Michael Pierce, neither of which really created a ton of pass rush. They pushed the pocket a little bit, but you saw that lacking, particularly in the final 4 games of the season. You weren't getting much interior pressure. You weren't getting much from your front 4. Defensive end was another problem. They relied on Brent Urban. I think that injury is one that kind of gets overlooked.
It flies under the radar a little bit.
Yeah, he was a big piece of this defense. Is Willie Henry your starting defensive end from this point? Do you re-sign Brent Urban? Who do you put? You know, does Kafusi step into that role? You got to find a defensive end that's going to put a little pressure on the quarterback too.
And I don't think there's big changes in the secondary. The biggest changes in that regard is getting guys healthy. You're going to have Tavon Young back. He's probably going to be your starting nickel corner. You're going to have Jimmy Smith back next year, so that's going to be a big difference, obviously, you know, compared to what he did at the beginning of the year. So I don't see huge changes on the back end.
Yeah, I agree. Our last question comes from Derek, and the question is, how did we not win that game? I think this is the biggest question coming out of that.
Yeah, everyone's been debating this question.
Yeah, exactly. I'll start it with this. I don't think the Bengals game in Week 17 was as much of a gimme as a lot of people thought it was. You know, everybody saw these ESPN projections. The Ravens have a 97% chance of going to the playoffs. Have people not paid attention to the Ravens-Bengals rivalry over the last few years? I mean, the Bengals have given the Ravens a lot of fits, and they came in there and they were playing tough with Marvin in his last game and all that stuff. So throw the odds out. I don't want to see that stuff next year.
Let's get a little more technical. Let's look at that 4th down play.
Okay.
I mean, basically what it comes down to is that final drive, the 4th and 12 play. It's painful to think about.
Yes. All right, so on the 4th and 12 play, I think the Ravens actually had a nice play call on that one. I think they were set up for success on that play. To me, #1 priority is you got to double A.J. Green. They did that. Marlon Humphrey was in man-to-man coverage. Tony Jefferson was over the top. And you haven't even had Chuck Clark dropping underneath. So really, A.J. Green was not going to catch the ball, which is a great sign to me.
Yeah.
Then you look at the other side. You had man-to-man coverage on the outside against Brandon LaFell. Brandon Carr was over there. LaFell ran a go. Brandon Carr started to go up the field with him. LaFell was maybe a step behind him. And I think you had Maurice Kennedy, who was in zone coverage in the slot. At that point, he looked outside. That was his first look, and he said, oh man, I don't want them to get the big play out there, which is totally reasonable for him to think that. He kind of took a step to the outside. All of a sudden, he saw Andy Dalton step up in the pocket, start to go down the middle, and he said, oh crap.
Yeah.
Tried to recover, turned around, and it was too late.
Yeah. Tyler Boyd
Was already in the middle. You know, Eric Weddle was dropping. C.J. Mosley was dropping to cover the sticks, which I agree with that. You have to have zone cover guys covering the sticks, because the last thing you want was a tight end to beat him underneath when the tight ends were giving the Ravens fits all game. they weren't quite deep enough to get that pass. C.J. Mosley, how many inches was that ball from his
If he was
fingertips?
6'6", that probably gets deflected.
Seriously.
Just a little bit outside of his reach.
Seriously. So, that's what happened. You know what? Maurice Kennedy, he's the guy who made the game-winning play against the Indianapolis Colts. Guys had how many games under his belt, under his NFL belt. He's going to learn from that play, and it was a tough one. He tried to go make a play, help out a teammate. It just didn't work. That happens in football. You move on.
Yeah, it was painful, and so the biggest thing we can do now is move on.
Yeah, let's
put
do
it behind us. As always, we'd love to hear from you guys, so send in your questions every single week using the hashtag #RavensMailbag. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.